Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Thank you so much for tuning in to the inaugural episode of the Chi Town Footy Pod. I'm your host, Eric Gonzalez, with you today. Joined next to me is nobody, as I am doing this first episode alone. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is going to be an interesting experience. It is my first podcasting experience. But yeah, I'm really excited. So, gonna cover a few things real quick before we actually start. One, I do hope to have a guest here each week, but because this is my first episode, I'm gonna try and use this as sort of an introduction and sort of a, dipping my toe into the water. And two, I will not just be covering the Chicago Fire Football Club. I plan to also cover Chicago House AC of the I think they're part of the Midwest Premier League now. And the Red Stars, obviously, of the NWSL. And, any other little Chicago teams that pop up here and there. So, that being said, let's just get straight into the episode. All right, well, the first thing on this list of tangents to go on, the 2023 A Kit for All jersey, released by the Chicago Fire this season for the 2023-24 seasons. And you know what? When it first came out, I hated it. Like, I'm going to be straight up. I absolutely despised it. I thought it was disgusting. Like, I never wanted to see it again in my life, and I'm not even kidding. But, having the few weeks for it to, sink in and really let it imprint in my head, I really like this kit. Especially seeing it in person at the game, Saturday? So, what I'm going to do, because I still have some problems with it, we're going over some pros and cons. Pro number one, it's got red. Now, this is one of the biggest things for me is, I'd always yell at Soldier Field, "Come on, you men in red," and I'll get with these weird stares from the rest of the people in my section. Shout out that one family that was sitting in front of us in section 120. I am sorry you had to witness that the entire game on Saturday. But again, this is a really big thing for me. We have it. We have the nickname the Men in Red, and yet we haven't worn red in 4 years. The last time, red was actually prominent on the jersey was the 2019 away kit. And, it really does stick with the tradition with the Fire. Red stripe, white kit, at least for their away kits for the longest time. And obviously just the stripe down the center. Go back to the old days of the Fire, back to the originals. But this also leads me, my favorite ever Chicago Fire kit was the 2005 away. If you're not familiar, definitely look it up. It's made by Puma. It's white base, and with one shoulder white, the left shoulder is white, the right shoulder is red. It's got this beautiful red trim, and it's paired with white socks and white shorts. It's beautiful, and I think the reason that I love that jersey so much is it's the way the red pops out. There's no sponsor, but it says Chicago, and that brings me to my first con, the empty space. The empty space on this kit just kills it, in my opinion. There's so much space and potential for that, for it to be filled with something. I don't know if they went back to the normal orientation, the horizontal orientation of the logo and the badge, and I don't know, they added a stripe or something. They could have brought back the old Fireword mark, or even Chicago. That used to be prominent in all their jerseys when they didn't have a sponsor. And I think that really brings this kit down a little bit. It's unfortunate, but, I hope that eventually throughout the season we do end up picking up a sponsor. I think that's what Colorado did over the 2022 season. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on that. But that brings me to Pro 2, the vertical orientation. See, with the vertical orientation, it really has to be done right. And I think the Fire did it right here. I think Adidas and Chicago did a fantastic job. I think it looks really, really nice, Like, you see, LAFC, their last year, I don't really know what they called it, but obviously we saw it enough. They won the MLS Cup, but that vertical orientation, it's clean, but it took a little while to grow on me because it just looked a little bit out of place and a little bit awkward, you know? But you look at this and you look at the 2020 away kit, it's a vast improvement. It's not, in my opinion, it's not an improvement over the Lakefront kit of last season. But then again, it's going to be really hard to top that. And I don't think I actually have another con, so I'm just going to go with another pro. Pro, the light blue shorts. Oh my goodness gravy. Now, if you want a clean look, especially for Chicago, this is what we're going to sort of be building off our identity, obviously with the new crest, with the flag blue. And that's one of those colors that I was really nervous it wasn't going to work with the Flyers' identity. But they made it work. And it works incredibly. With the white socks as well. Jeez. It's just clean, classy, nice. I really can't say enough good things about that. Actually, no, I do have one more con. And I think it's my final con. It's sort of just, it's so ununiform. I get it, that's the look they were going for with the, broken chevron pattern, or however you want to say it. But if you look at the back of the kit, of the authentic kit, and you see that little area on the back shoulders, it looks really, really nice. But it's not present anywhere else in the kit. And I think that's, if it was, if you could see it a lot more, I think it would have pushed this kit up and above, probably into the top 3 kits of the season. But I feel like this just sits out at like number 4 or 5. Obviously more high ranking than this, I feel like, would be the Bruce Lee kit from Seattle. Definitely the plaid kit from Portland. I don't know if I'd put Philly's kit above it. I really like the Philadelphia Union Simpsons looking jersey. But yeah, that's, I guess, a story for another time. But overall, I like it. You know what? I like it. I would probably buy this kit. And if I had the money, I probably would. So, you know what? Yeah. Is it as good as the Lakefront kit? Don't be silly. Of course it isn't. But I guess I really wasn't expecting it to be. When you're graced with that nice of a jersey, with the 6-pointed stars in the stripes across the middle, like, it's hard to top that. It's really, really hard to top that. I'm looking at it right now. I've got it pulled up. And just, there's not a whole lot better. I feel like this is easily one of the top 3 jerseys when it came out, 2021. I feel like it could still hold its own really well in this season. Which, I don't know why they didn't just keep the... I know its 2-year cycle was up, but I don't know why they didn't just keep the Lakefront kit, all right? You promised if you're Joe Mansueto, you promised the fans you're going back to the red and the white, and you say 2024, and I understand, obviously it's still on schedule for the 2024 kit to be red and white, but I don't know why you just could have kept the Lakefront, because everyone was happy with it. I have not met one unhappy fan with the Lakefront kit, But people were mad with the home kit. This season, people were infuriated with the what's it called? With the water tower kit. Sorry, thank you. People were mad with that. Like, obviously, I don't really blame him. I know that jersey was in production. I know it's like, 15 months worth or something. And I know it had the Fire Crown badge in design and in their heads, but still. Could they have... No one really liked that kit. No one really wanted it to stay, and yet it's here for another season. I know its 2-year cycle is not up. I know this is the last year of it. But, like, why couldn't they have just, kept the Lakefront kit for one more season and ditched the water tower kit which I feel like if that was an away kit, if it was an away jersey, it would have looked really clean, you know? But that's a story from another time. Basing that off 2013 or whatever. The 2013 kit. I'm sorry, let me just pull it up real quick. Yeah. Let's 2013, 2014. Look, see? So in 2012, the Fire released their new away kit. It's that dark navy blue with the thin blue strands, thin blue hoops, I guess you can call them. But I don't know if we really call those hoops. And they got the 4 6-pointed stars in there every so often. And they kept that jersey for 3 years. They kept it from 2012 to 2014. So 20 days for the 2012 season, 2013 season, and 2014 season. I don't know why they couldn't have just done that with the Lakefront kit, you know? Instead of having to deal with another 2 seasons of being navy blue, even though it's the Fire, and Fire, hot, red, you know, it's just some things I don't understand. And by the way, Fire, if you are in charge of the kit design in Chicago and you're at Adidas or whatever, you don't have to go crazy with the return to red. Just be simple, be classy. Red, white stripe. That's all I gotta say. Red and white stripe, it's very pleasing. The Fire fans will be happy. You don't gotta go crazy. You don't gotta go, balls to the walls. Let's make this the craziest jersey you've ever seen. New identity, yada, yada, yada. No, just go simple. Red, white stripe. Just red and white stripe. I think it looks so classy with a new logo and a sponsor. Yeah. Anyways, that's basically all I got for the kit. Let's move on. All right, I think it's time to address the decently sized elephant in the room. This past game, Chicago Fire FC versus New York City FC, the home opener and season opener for the club that I love. I'm going to start at the pregame, really, arriving, hanging out with the fans in the South Lot, and just what a good time it was in general. Every single time we go to any of these games, I always, make sure to hit up the Fambulance, and it's always a great atmosphere there. Everyone's party. It doesn't matter if it's rainy and cold. It was 39 degrees yesterday on the lakefront, and it was just a bit. It was cold. It was drizzling, and I feel like if it was a lot of other teams or really in any other situation, it would have been fun. It wouldn't have been exciting, but yet the Fire fans still made it a pleasurable experience. And I think a big shout out needs to go out to the Fambulance and Circle Latino. Who else was there? I think I saw the Barn Burners there. I saw Section 8. I saw, oh my lord. And shout out to the Red Lines SG. One of y'all gave me a sticker saying that I want you. And I have that. It's on my PlayStation 5 right now. I joined. I just really wanted to quickly bring that up because they are really chill. Also, shout out to whoever makes the food at the Fambulance. That is delicious. But yeah, they got the music pumping. Everyone's just kind of hanging out, having a great time. And I think that really gets overlooked sometimes. Just especially, I can remember my first time ever going down there. I was a little bit intimidated because a lot of these people are older than me. I'm only 14, and most of these people are older than me, and they're all accepting though. They're a really accepting group of people, and everyone just they're having a good time. All being brought together for the love of this team, through the love of this team. Sorry, and everyone's celebrating. Obviously, you kick off a new season, a lot of things to be excited for. So, just big shout out to everyone that was there. Great time. But that was outside the stadium. That was in the South Lot. Walking in, and it was all right. It was pretty fun. They got the DJ kicking. I think. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, I think I have it right here. Was that DJ King Marie? ? I don't know. But whoever was on the DJ over there, she always does a great job. She did a lot of these Fire games. DJ step up in the booth during the game, obviously for the Chicago sounds at halftime. Always love him. He's great. DJ. You really can't have a Fire game without him. So, or either of them really. Head to the pregame. Headed to the store during the pregame. Pretty neat things there. I was really shocked there was no scarf featuring the pattern of a kit for all. I was really surprised because, I'm pretty sure they have one for. I own one that is the same design as the lakefront kit that I already previously brought up. I've seen scarves that have the same design as the water tower kit, but I was really surprised with the lack of oh Lord, I'm so sorry. I was really surprised about the lack of scarf with the kit for all design. I know they gave them out on the flags. I got 2 of them because me and my dad obviously both went. But that's just kind of took me by surprise because that's a scarf I would definitely buy. I have a lot of scarves here. I think I have. Let's see if we just go over. I have a 2016 season ticket holder one that says "Don't Stop Living in the Red," even though I was not a season ticket holder in 2016. It was for sale at the locker room sale. Hooray! I have a Chicago one that just says Chicago Fire FC. It's red and yellow. It's got the old fire crown on it. That was my first ever scarf, and it actually technically not. And it came with a ticket for the home opener for the 2020 season. Obviously, we all know how that went. Let's see. Got this really old Chicago Fire FC scarf. It's gray based with red and blue. It's got the old badge on either side. I think that's technically my first ever scarf. I have this blacked out one, this black and gray one. One side has Chicago Fire in the center, stacked on top of each other, and half the logo on either side of the scarf, and when it's brought together, it makes the full badge. And then the other side just says, Chicago Fire, long ways. Really cool. I loved that one. I got on the locker room sale of 2022. After the 2021 season. Yeah, after the 2021 season. I got the Continental one from the little Continental Tire thing they had at a few of the home games towards late last season. I have a Detroit City FC scarf for the one time I was up there, but that's unrelated. I have the previously mentioned Lakefront kit scarf. This one's signed by Chris Mueller, actually. So I'm really proud of this one. Thank you, Chris. You are an awesome person, and I really appreciate it. I have... Where is it? Here. I have a dual-sided scarf. One side says Fire. The other side says Manchester United with July 23rd, 2011. Obviously, for the one time they played each other. I'm not a Manchester United fan, but I thought it would be really cool to pick up. I have another scarf that I can't seem to find that is signed by Wyatt Omsberg. One side has Fire, the other side is Adidas. I have what I believe to be, and don't quote me on this, but it is a Save the Crew Chicago Fire FC scarf. It is yellow and black, and I believe this came out about the same time as the Save the Crew movement, but it could also be a throwback to the Chicago Sting. Either are good. When I first bought it, I thought it was for the Chicago Sting. I got a Michigan University, the Wolverines scarf. I got an Arsenal scarf because I'm an Arsenal fan. If you're a Tottenham fan, surrender or you'll die. Yeah, see, here is the Adidas one. I know you can't see it, but this is signed by Wyatt Omsberg. He was at the locker room sale this year. Really cool guy. If you ever have the chance to meet him, take it. Wyatt, if you're listening, I really like you. I hope you're able to play for the Fire again really soon. Hope your injury gets better. All right, so where was I? Right, store. they had a decent selection. Moving on. It was raining at the time we got in, so we didn't go to our seats just yet because, again, rainy, gross, cold. Definitely cold. If you are going to a Fire game, especially in the early season or late, bring a jacket. I cannot stress that enough. Anyways, walking around, my dad and I stopped to see our season ticket accountant. By the way, he is really cool, and he also helped distribute this podcast. So, and he's also getting us the Soldier Field replica from last season because he found one. Big shout out to Michael Serio. If you're listening, thank you so much. Also for giving me this opportunity. I would really like, I'd like you to know my thanks. Anyways, so stopped to see him, who was apparently trying to get the QR codes for the 20% off to work. I think they got it eventually, because I think it worked for our chicken tenders. And if you are listening, anyone at the Fire, please tell them to change the chicken tender meal back. Last season, my dad and I, that was all I would basically get, because it was really good tenders and really good fries. And now it's like what I would get at my school lunches, and it made me sad. Yeah, that's all. And I can get that for like $2.50 and not $12 a basket. But moving on, that takes us right about to the time we sat in our seats to get ready for kickoff. And, watching the team warm up, they looked pretty good. New York City looked decent. And really, this is where we're about to get into the game. Be right back with the game analysis. Now, one thing I'd like to say, though, before we do actually get into the game is I'm a 14-year-old boy, okay? Not everything I say is going to be the correct answer or, going to be exact, because I am not trained at that high. I'm not a professional soccer player. I am not a manager. I am simply a fan. And this is just what I saw from a fan's eye, so do not come at me. Just thought I'd give that brief disclaimer. Without further ado, let's go into my game analysis. Right, so let's get into the game. I think, obviously the first half, I don't think really either team had any sort of rhythm or really consistent play at all. I think it was really choppy, a lot of outs, a lot of injuries. This is painful as a Fire fan coming into the brand new season, seeing a few players get injured. Like, who was it? Yaro Torres, I think, went out first. Federico Navarro went out. It kind of angers you to see, but at the same time, you can't really be angry at anyone in particular. It's just unfortunate, and I really do hope they get better later in the game. Chris Mueller, and I'd like to give my props to him as well, because that man fought. Any fan could really see how much pain that man was in after he picked up the knock in what looked like his right leg, I believe. But he fought really as hard as he can until he did end up coming out, until he did come out. So if he is listening to this, major props to him. I love that. I love him. I love the way he fights, He doesn't quit. He does not quit. He's a good figure when it comes to the Fire. I think that a lot of the younger players in the squad really need to, the players around him in general really need to look up to that. I feel like last season, a big problem was a lack of fight, a lack of, that determination. Not saying the players weren't determined, but that same level, that sacrifice your body, sacrifice your mind even for, playing for the team, for the game to win, So again, major props to Chris Mueller. He played really well, and I hope he has a really speedy recovery. But that also leads me to the next player I want to assess, Spencer Richey. Well, obviously the last time we saw him in net was the first time we ever saw him in net, I believe, in an actual game, was against Union Omaha. And I'm not going to talk about how that game went, because I feel like if you're a Fire fan, you already know how it went. But I think that game, his goalkeeping was shaky at best. But this New York City game, I really saw a lot more confidence out of him. Obviously when I don't really know who, someone came charging down at him, and he just calmly, touched the ball to his other side. Obviously, it did end up leading to a goal on us, and that being the one goal that New York City did score, which is a little bit unfortunate. But again, Spencer Richey could not do anything about that finish. Give credit where credit's due. Coming off the inside of the post, as a goalkeeper, but not obviously. Again, 14 and not the top level, as Gaga Slonina was when he was signed by the Fire. But as a goalkeeper, it's at that point you kind of just have to tip your cap and move on, bounce back. And bounce back he did. He had a couple of really nice stops, really important stops. Obviously, the save of the game being that one he got both palms to, leaping through the goal. So obviously really happy for him there. I think he definitely has a future in this Fire squad. I feel like he just needs to get his own personal confidence up, and I think everything will really follow from there, because he has the skill, he has the footwork. I feel like his first game since Union Omaha, I feel like he's still feeling really feeling real shaky about that. So he played well though. He played really well, and I feel like the game could have probably been a little bit worse without him. Obviously, that I do keep referring to that one save, but there are a few. But from one end of the pitch to the other, and man, the Fire. I want to give Kasper Schmeichel the benefit of the doubt, because he is new, and he's obviously he's a proven goal scorer at Philadelphia, and I don't know why he just can't finish in Chicago. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really want to. I want to say, give him more time. He'll develop into the player we know he can be. But a full season gone, he only scored 5 goals, I think, if I remember correctly, and missing that chance, and that really almost did come back to haunt us later in the game. I really want to see more out of him. I want to see more fight. I want to see more clinical ability in that final third, in the top of the 18, in the box. I really want to see him succeed, because he's a really likable person, and I really like him as a person. I think he's so cool. That one the one episode of No Little Plans that they focused on him, like it shows you into his personal life, and I like him. I like him as a person really much, but I really need to see him produce goals, because that's the biggest problem from the Fire from last season. Our defense wasn't bad last season. Obviously, having a really good 18-year-old goalkeeper and Rafael Schihos really holding it down in the back. I mean, that man is more of a bear than anyone I've ever seen in my life, and he is the captain of this team, and for really good reason. But it was our offense. We could not generate enough lethal ability in that final third, and I watched an episode of, I want to say it was on Apple TV. It was a season preview for the Chicago Fire. I believe it was Andrew Wiebe who said, how do you get the most out of Xherdan Shaqiri? It's the players around him. And one of those players is definitely Kasper Schmeichel. He is supposed to be our number 9, And that brings us, or me, to the other player who was filling in the number 9 spot for the second half, Kai Kamara, his debut. I liked watching him. I really think that he is a really good temporary option, probably just for this season, while we try and find a new DP number 9. Because, again, I don't know if we'll be able to keep giving Casper enough time. I feel like he's really got to step it up now, or, I don't foresee great things if he doesn't step it up soon. Sorry. But Kai Kamara, again, after he's 6? He was still moving, or 38, one of the two. He was moving. He was easily one of our most dangerous players that second half. He definitely, obviously got the semi-assist on the Fabian Herber's goal for the Fire. Again, Fabian Herber's coming in for... Who did he come in for? I know he came in for somebody. Did he come in for Chris Mueller? Anyways, doesn't matter. I really liked what I saw out of Kai Kamara. I think that he can definitely provide a little bit of a relief when it comes to the temporary options here in Chicago. But that does put a little bit of pressure on the front board. And George Heights, who's definitely been under pressure for a little while now from these Fire fans, myself included, definitely needs to make the right signing soon. And the Fire have not a great history when it comes to designated players. But, well. That's, again, a story for another time. But with players like Gaston Jimenez coming in, I liked what I saw from him. I really wish he was brought in a little bit earlier because he showed some serious fight. He showed that Paraguayan spirit. And I always like watching him. I always do. He's fun to watch. I'm really glad that we have him on a non-DP deal, which opens up a new slot. Speaking of DPs, Jurgen Shaqiri. Mixed bag from him. Mixed bag. I really feel like he could have done a bit better on some of the set pieces. A couple of corners in there. That free kick towards the end that he just hit straight into the wall. I feel like he's got to do a bit better there. And so, for some of the players around him and also standing over that free kick, I am going to be made fun of for my attempt at pronouncing his name. So if some of y'all could really help me out here. Oh God. Shush. Let's try. Hail Selassie, number 7. You know who I'm talking about. I like him. I really like what I saw of him. He looked exciting. He looks like he can generate offense. He looks like he linked up really well with our with some of our players like Mickey Navarro. I feel like he has a bright potential here at the Fire in Chicago, at Soldier Field, even away from Soldier Field. I feel like he can definitely be of some assistance to this team when it comes to producing goals. And I also, from one new face to another, Arnaud Souquet, I really like what I saw out of him. Watching him shut it down really on his, what was he? He was on the right side, I think. Watching him shut it down, but also helping out an attack. He was a good watch. I feel like getting him on the free was really good business from the Fire. And I feel like he's going to help out with Rafael Shihos in the back. 2 veterans helping out with a few younger players such as, Carlos Terán. You get Wyatt Omsberg, not really Mauricio Pineda, but Kendall Burks if he gets brought back in. A lot of these players that they don't have that experience, so they're not gonna. They might not play as well if they're surrounded by a bunch of other younger players. But I feel like we're gonna have another strong back line, per usual for the Fire. These last 2 years definitely had a strong defense, and I think I'm looking forward to watch them. Also, Chris Brady, I'm excited to see him in goal eventually this season. It's gonna be a really tight battle though between him and Spencer Ritchie, and I really hope that pushes them both to become better for the number 1 spot. Also, Jeff Gall, I know I didn't mention him. Haven't seen a whole lot of him, obviously. I don't think. Yeah, I also haven't done the research, so sorry. But yeah, Chris Mueller, again, I want to bring him up again. Absolute fighter. Really, can't give enough props to him. You see how much fight he puts in. You see how, he cares. He really does care about this team. And he really does, he wants to play his best. He wants to win. And I think that's something that the other Fire players need to match. Not all of them, but definitely a good little few. Rafael Schihos always holding it down in the defense as usual. No big surprises from him. He's just an incredible defender all around. Carlos Terán, again, decent defense. Got a couple of good long throw-ins in there. I think that's just about it. Fabian Herbert's obviously got the really nice goal, equalized for the Fire in the 74th minute or so. I think that's just about it. So, watching the Fire that second half was much better than watching in the first. It was pretty good though. You know what? I really thought that the team didn't do half bad. I feel like, what does this mean for the rest of the season? So, New York City FC are not touted to be the greatest team this season, at least from what I saw. So, I feel like this is going to be another really tough season for the Fire. I feel like we have the capability to make the playoffs, though. And I'll say it every single season. This team can make the playoffs. I feel like the Fire can definitely make their way into the playoffs this season. They just got to push for it. They got to grind for it this season. There's going to be tough games like, the 11th against Philadelphia. There's going to be these tough games that are not going to be very fun to watch, to play. I understand that. But I think these teams is a need. I think this team needs to sort of bully through it, keep pushing away for it. And eventually they're going to start seeing results. They're going to, they're going to start seeing results. They're going to start getting the results they want. Slow. It's going to be slow, but sure. And I think this team has potential to make the playoffs. Absolutely. Will we make the playoffs? That's for time to tell. But enough about the game itself and more so about the experience inside the stadium. And oh my goodness, from what it said, there was 19,671 inside the stadium during the game. But I just like to say, wow, it felt like there was more. It felt like there was a good 30,000. I feel like, I don't know how to put it. It made me. It's one of those things that you feel. Like you look at the team's past performances in the last few seasons, you look at the attendance numbers, and you get a little bit nervous. But you look at it now, and you go into the stadium, and you feel good because of how many people are there. The singing together, especially in Section 8. It was a good experience. It was a really nice experience. The singing, the yelling, the booing at the referee, who made some questionable calls at least, but I'm gonna stand off that. I'm gonna back off that for now. And watching the tifo get unveiled like right next to me, seeing it on the Fire's Twitter after the game, wow. I big shout out to all involved in that. I if you don't understand it, if you ever see a picture of it and you don't understand it, the second star in the Chicago flag represents the Great Chicago Fire, the name which is the namesake of the team. And having the C around it, which is, visible in the center of the crest. It made me it made me happy, seeing the team, seeing the fans work together like that. I mean, it's just one of those things. You sit in the car on the way home and you think to yourself, wow, that was incredible. I think we were ranked 8th in the attendance when it came to the games over the weekend. It felt like we were among the top. We would have almost sold out SeatGeek Stadium. I know when you say that, it makes it sound like it's not good. And let me tell you, it felt incredible inside the stadium. It felt like there was more people than there were. And that's a feeling I haven't had in a long time with the Fire. But it was fantastic. So shout out to each and every single fan that was in that stadium the entire game. So yeah, that's just about it for the game wise. So next up, I think I'm going to be taking the trip around the league. So what was going on outside of Chicago in Major League Soccer? Well, let's go ahead and go over some of the scores over the match day, sorry. So we got LAFC 3, Portland Timbers 2. I think that scoreline makes it seem a lot more exciting than it really was. I mean, LAFC were already up 3-0, and then Portland scored 2 in the 62nd and 84th. I feel like, 25 shots in total, 15 for LAFC, 10 for Portland Timbers. Timbers actually had more shots on target at 6, and more possession at 53%. And 442 passes to LAFC's 388. I apologize. Red Bull New York 0, Nashville 0, snooze fest. New England Revolution 3, Houston Dynamo 0. I think the only interesting part about this was the attendance at just 13,000 in Gillette Stadium, which made it seem more empty than the Etihad, which is weird to say. Orlando City 0, FC Cincinnati 0, snooze fest. Atlanta United 1, Toronto FC 1. Toronto FC opened the scoring in the 52nd minute with Bernadeschi, and Rosetto equalized 8 minutes later. Jesus. You look at some of these stats, you wonder how Atlanta didn't win. 16 shots to Toronto's 4, 6 shots on target to Toronto's 3, 67% possession, and 619 passes. That's got to be full of missed opportunities. Columbus Crew 2, DC United 0. Lucas Elrayon scoring in the 10th and 44th. I think the Fire definitely need a player like that. But again, you look at the stats, and really, I mean, it looks like the stats really don't match the scoreline, because DC United outshot Columbus 15-12. Granted, they only had 3 shots on target to Columbus's 4. I mean, again, possession really easy, 53% to DC's 53% to Columbus's 47%, and within 50 passes of each other. I feel like the scoreline does not represent how that game really went. Inter Miami 2, Philadelphia Union 0. This is surprising considering Philadelphia, obviously runners-up last year, made it to the MLS Cup final, lost in penalty kicks, and here they are losing to Inter Miami. Jean or Jean, I don't know. I'm not an Inter Miami fan. Scoring in the 32nd minute, and Taylor in the 77th. Now, this game also a lot more equal. Granted, Inter Miami had 2 shots on target, and both went in, so a bit of a rough day for Andre Blake, I'd say. But yeah, really even on the stats. Somehow, Philadelphia find themselves shut out. Obviously, Chicago won, New York won. We already saw that. St. Louis City opened City Park for the first ever time. For the first time ever, sorry. The first goal at that stadium coming from Copetti of Charlotte. And then St. Louis City's first goal there being an own goal by Tuioma. I'm so sorry if I just butchered your name. I feel so bad. But yeah, and the penalty kick from the 45th plus 5. Absolutely roofing that. I saw that pen, and I thought that was going over, but great pen. No keeper saving that. Yeah. You see the match stats. Holy shoot. Charlotte FC had 509 passes. Why? But that's basically all. Austin 1, Montreal 0. A bit boring. Yeah, actually really boring. FC Dallas 3, LA Galaxy 1. This is a pretty big actually, because I really felt like LA Galaxy was better than that. Jesus Ferreira scoring twice in the 56th and 64th after the Galaxy opened the scoring in the 35th, and Velasco scoring in the 45th plus second. So I'm going to include him. Colorado 0, Kansas City 0, snooze fest. Real Salt Lake 0, Seattle Sounders 2 with Jordan Morris and Herbert scoring. Stats look, about right to what you'd expect for a 2-0 game. And most recently, San Jose 2, Vancouver 1. Comeback that was completed in 9 minutes. 2 goals in 9 minutes. Vancouver sort of defensive collapse. And yeah, that's what can happen. Also, I believe they just opened a brand new supporter all-standing tier at PayPal Park, which is really cool. Fair play. I like that a lot. In other news as well, FIFA 23 is set to be adding the NWSL with an update on March 15th. So, spread the word. Chicago Red Stars in the game. Be on the lookout for that. Definitely, if you do own FIFA 23, big step. It's the first time NWSL teams will be featured in a video game. So, good for them. That is just about all, except one more thing. New York City is the team that I'm going to nitpick on kits today. They're bad. For both Red Bull New York and New York City FC, what are you doing? We go to Red Bull New York. First of all, the red kit, class. They released it last year. Love it. Looks really nice. I like the little Sharpie look for the checkers. It's classy. It looks good, Awesome. Their new one, though, the one they teamed up with, whatever. I don't even know who they teamed up with. Yeah. Daniel Patrick. What did you do? It looks like moldy cheese. It looks like moldy cheese. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry. It's not good. Ugh. Jeez. No. I'm looking at it right now. It's just becoming more of a nope. It looks like mold. Okay? It looks like mold. Then, also, New York City FC. What are you doing? In this year's kit, it's pretty basic. No one really cares. The orange and blue one, though? What are you doing? Orange and blue are contrasting colors. They don't gradient well. They don't look good when you gradient them together. No. It makes brown. You use the two colors so they contrast each other. That should be basic, basic third grade knowledge. And also, why have that one orange sleeve? Just commit to the blue. Just commit to the blue side. Also, why is that side blue? Switch the colors around. Switch the orange and the blue, and get rid of the gradient, and it would have been a fine jersey. It would have been probably one of the best in the league. But no. Ugh. Jeez. Absolute disaster class in the Big Apple. But I think that is all I have time for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the inaugural episode of the Chi Town Footy Pod. Obviously, it's the first actual episode, so obviously had a little bit of bumps as my mic cutting out. Don't mind it. Again, thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week After the Chicago Fire take on the Philadelphia Union at Union Park. That's not what it's Subaru Park. I apologize, Union. At Subaru Park on Saturday, March 11th at 6:30 p.m. Watch it on the Apple TV MLS Season Pass. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And adios. Peace out. Goodbye. Have a lovely day. And remember, don't die. It is not good for your health. Goodbye.